Well, hello everyone. It's Hunter Davis here, and this is my blog posting for week 3 observations and many other things. Hope y'all are having a great day, and y'all enjoy the content of this video. First of all, the first part of this video I will be covering. Some of my official observations I have to make this week, including classroom strategy, classroom design, and student interaction. And then the second part of this video I will be covering general observations from the week and experiences, and then the third part I will be covering general emotions from the past week. Okay, for the first part, the classroom design, interaction, student interactions. For the classroom design, it's a very nice classroom. When I first walked in, it's a very standard classroom in its design. It has no windows. In fact, let me go to the chart that I created. Welcome to my classroom. It has no windows, has one door entry. It can seat about 30 students. It's set up so that the teacher sits right in the front, right about here, and then in the back here is where the instructional aide actually sits. So, in the entirety of the room, over in this area here, there's 2 cork boards, one here, and then in the front there's a chalkboard with a smart board set in front of it, so the teacher can do his PowerPoint lectures. There's a bookcase that holds all the books right about this corner here. And then finally, in the back wall, the teacher set up a hall pass sign out on a stand. There's a pencil sharpener, hand sanitizer dispenser. The most important thing is on at least 2 of the walls. Some of the walls he has just like school policy things listed or classroom schedules. But then on the 2 walls that have the cork boards, he has decorated them with American-themed banners and borders, and he has put a lot of history-themed posters. There's some that mark diversity. There's one on Indians out west. There's another one on the Civil War. There's another one on the Statue of Liberty, and so on and so forth. And then there's one that is just on historical analysis. And I find that he's a large diversity of different types of posters, and some that invigorate thought. I've seen students between classes either leaving for lunch or about to leave for class actually looking at these posters and trying to read them and understand them. And I think that's the goal of this poster, so I think that's cool that he's done that. He also has some sport propaganda up for the school, up on the walls, kind of like for the high school football team and stuff like that. It's a very standard classroom, and it really fits well for the students he has in there. For the students in the class, for all of his classes, Mr. CT, his students about probably for this week we had to observe if they were on task or off task, and based off of what I've seen, the students probably are about 70% or more are on task a majority of the time. And sometimes they're all on task. Earlier this week we gave them a book activity while the sub was here, and at the very end of the day where they were all working on the book activity, it was silent in the room. Everybody was working, and there would be every once in a while there'd be a question raised, but otherwise students were interacting and not disturbing one another, and it was quite a very cool scene. It was a cool scene to see. But there are some times where you see some small cliques, maybe 2 or 3 girls or guys talking amongst each other, slightly off task during an activity, or sometimes, rarely, you'll see that during a lecture. But it's rare that you'll actually see that during lecture. But it's very cool to see the amount of student attention towards detail and trying to get things right. We have a lot of students in the classrooms which will raise their hands, ask questions to try to make sure they have the right answer, ask the people around them, even though we ask them to ask us first to stop lecture so other students don't miss out on the lecture. But other than that, students a majority of the time do stay on task. We do have a few students, since it is a school that has laptops, sometimes the students do actually will get off task on their laptops, get on sites where they'll look at like cars, or they'll do shopping, or I've seen a few times Facebook, video games, computer games, so on and so forth. So to observe that is a little downside, but it's something that can be combated it can be avoided. I mean, we can talk to students and make sure they don't do it. And over time, you can't break the habit. So it's a good thing that I see this early on, and then down the road, if I come across the same thing, I should be able to avoid it, to combat it. So for my strategies report, that's really all I have for that. My second part for this week's general observations. The beginning of the week, I came into class, and Mr. CT, the teacher, was not in the class. He was actually at a seminar. So for most of that day, I actually helped the substitute teacher and the instructional aid lead lecture. It was on the Reformation. Some of it was on the Reformation, and some of it was on the Revolutionary War. So it was subject matters that I was well versed in. So I was able to contribute, and in fact, for some of the material, I was in the front of the class leading the lecture, and I learned a lot from it. So, for instance, I learned how to time myself a little bit better. I learned how to try to integrate student questions in, and then be able to hit the routine, be able to do the same lecture over again. And I thought that was pretty cool, because I did the lecture once, next class I had to do the same one, and I started hitting the same points that I was hitting the first time around, and it just clicked. It was great. Some of the negatives I noticed is sometimes I talk a little too fast, like in this blog video, for instance, but I'm time constraints on the video that I'm taking, so I must do it as quick as I can. So, to make a long story short, I learned a lot from what I was learning. Second point of general observations from the week, I actually got to observe an AP government. I got to observe an AP U.S. history class, and that was great. To see the level of dedication, commit from the students, to see them just, when they had an activity, immediately go to autopilot, not needing to continually get them back on task, was great. It's something I'd love to teach one day. I'd love to teach an AP class. If I had the opportunity to do it, I would love to do it. I feel like I could. I really could do it. It all depends on whatever school of choice needs me to do. I feel that that every teacher wishes to teach that type of environment, that type of class, but they always can't, because there's only 10% of the classes that can take those classes and pass them. So out of every 7 teachers, one of them teaches it, the other 6 teach everyone else, and that's just how it is. I mean, even that one teacher has a few of those classes. So the opportunity to be able to observe that, witness it, take in some notes from that was incredible, and I enjoyed doing that. Part 3, just the general emotions from the week. It's been an interesting week. Week 3 going to my school. The drive there has been really long, so getting up early in the morning, but this is something I got to get used to. So it hasn't been too bad. Fatigue hasn't been too much of a factor, but it's starting to get to me a little bit. But otherwise, I've been enjoying everything. I've had a lot of high points this week, so it's been a very good week. Been feeling very positive about things. There are some things I'm having a lot of growing pains, and that's a good thing, and it's helping me shape into the teacher that I want to become. So other than that, I am glad for the way this week has turned out. So general emotions, I'm still feeling pretty good. So well, I think that's all I have this week. I hope that you're having a great day. Hope you've enjoyed the video, and have a wonderful time until the next video. Bon voyage.